Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with three S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis, with my Wednesday co-host, Jonathan. How are you today, Jonathan?
I'm good. Yeah, how are you?
I'm decent. I kind of mentioned before we went live that I had to go outside today, and before I left, it didn't look as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it was pretty gross. It was like there was a little bit of hail or maybe like sleet, like some of it
Yeah,
was kind of like wet snow. It was
yeah.
bad when I was like trying to come home. I was just like pellets in the eye. I was wearing my glasses just because I didn't want it in my eye, but my glasses were all fogged up, and like it wasn't fun.
I have this wonderful timing where I'm like, look out the window, it's perfect. Go outside, 10 seconds later, it's pouring rain. And it's like, and I take the dog out. So I would have, brought an umbrella. I would have like dressed him up in better stuff. So, but such is life here in Ontario right now, Toronto.
Here in Ontario. My goodness. Hi, Jess. Thank you for being here. What did you think about this episode? What did you think about this episode,
Oh,
Jonathan?
I, I
Overall.
didn't,
Hmm.
I didn't love it. I think people are playing other people's games. People are playing not smart, not really thinking it through. I don't love a lot of things that went on in this episode.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we can discuss it all throughout because I have little moments, that are just like a me thing, and then other moments that I think will probably be shared by many that weren't enjoyed. So, I mean, overall though, I don't really care about who was put up, who may be put up, who any of that. So it didn't really matter to me. I wasn't like I knew that no one that I really like is at risk. I don't think so. I
Who do
was kind
you
of
really
okay.
like at this point? I know you
Well,
hadn't decided on anybody, I think, as of last week. So are you
well,
gravitating towards some people now?
I mean, it was a couple weeks ago, like you know, JC, which we didn't even see JC, but it's kind of like I mean, there's people who are growing on me, but they're not ever going to be my favorite. But like Moose was growing on me a bit the last couple episodes. Um, yeah, and there's just people that I don't mind as much. Summer was growing on me a little bit, but not my. Listen, these aren't my favorites. I'm just saying they're growing on me. So yeah, I mean, I don't have anyone that I'm like super rooting for yet, but I'm hoping there's a lot of people with potential. So I'm just hoping that they stay in. Yeah.
I I agree. Like I don't really have someone that I'm super gung ho about. I think Summer is a person that I'm curious the most about her game. I don't know if she's just really good socially, and if she has some like game chops, like if she put herself in the position to win. I'm not sure yet, but I
Yeah.
feel like she's in a good position and she's doing
She
what she needs to set herself up. To be
she made some
fair.
mistakes today, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Which if she was in more of a dire situation and those same mistakes happen, could be really dangerous. So I'm worried for her
Mm.
in other situations based on how she was doing certain things in this episode, which we'll talk
Ooh, I
about.
can't wait to hear. Hi, I am. Hey, y'all. Hope everyone is well. We are all well at this moment. This is Summer's game to lose. Agree or disagree, Jonathan?
I disagree. I don't like I just said. I think Summer showed a lot of weaknesses today, and I mean we can go into it now, but I'm going to save it for later. But it's yeah. I mean I don't know how much more to say right now, but
So Jess was typing, I loved it, while Jonathan was like, I didn't love
oh,
it.
no. How can you? I mean, how can you love something when you see someone making silly HOH moves, playing other people's games, and then even the people who are convincing them to do so are making mistakes, in my opinion, by being so bold and saying where their place is in the game and how much influence they have. Summer and if someone else made that realization, like, wait, maybe you do, maybe you should be going up instead. Like, there's
Yeah.
a lot of mistakes happening, which is just really sloppy gameplay. It's not Kyle sloppy, but it's sloppy enough gameplay for me. So I just don't
I
like seeing
also
that.
don't know if anybody is that savvy enough to pick up on that. You know what I mean? Like I don't maybe Kevin would.
Oh,
Um
Kevin absolutely would, and Kevin's quickly growing on me. He's another one who I was like,
I have a crush on Kevin almost.
you know what, and Yeah, and I heard someone I know has taken some acting classes or improv classes with
Yeah,
Kevin
improv.
and really liked him as a person. So I was like, oh, I
Someone I
love
know
hearing
too.
that.
I've heard that as
No,
well. Another
no,
improv person
different people. Different people.
likes Kevin, and like has done improv work with him. So Ivan says, I love hearing Marty complain about absolutely nothing. I don't. I'm sorry. I am like not to yuck someone's yum here, but like I actually cannot stand Marty any part of it. But we'll get into a lot of the
Yeah.
Marty antics, I'm sure. What, you're going to say
Yes,
something?
please. I my thoughts on Marty, but we can talk about it as
Oh,
it
well,
goes
we
along.
can
So
start
yeah.
off with talking about it because one thing that Marty was doing all week, they didn't show it that much on this episode, but he went on and on and on about Gino's nomination speech. And he would repeat what he said and be like, Canada's watching this, my kids are watching this. But then he would repeat again what he said. And like he repeated it so many times. It's like, okay, they're going to show it one time for sure on the nomination. Okay. Yes, maybe like, saying that you're a backstabber is not the greatest thing to say, whatever. But this is Gino's opinion, his head of household, and what he did was a backstabby kind of move to your best friend in the house.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe take a look at your actions, Marty, if you don't want people to call you out on what you're doing,
Yeah.
and
He's like, I
feel
did this.
betrayed by what you're doing.
He's like, I did this and I understand, but I don't appreciate why you're. I'm like, first of all, you're in a game. You're always in a game. I'm like, this is a game to me. I would never take any of it personally. But the other thing is that Marty playing to camera drives me crazy. If it's in the
Yeah.
moment and it's like, just something you're passing by and you'll say something, or if you're being goofy and it's in front of others, like we saw a little bit with Herman. But I don't mind that stuff. But when it's like you're doing it to really showboat
Pander.
and
Mhm.
Marty and I'm just like there's nothing else that will drive me more insane and make me lose any sort of interest in watching you play. I was definitely rooting against Marty this episode.
100% agree with you. Obviously, I know what's going on, so like I knew what was going to be happening at the end of this episode, but like I was watching the feeds quite a bit this week and I just was like, man, I just can't stand watching him. And he does that pandering to the audience often. And you'd be like, look, Canada's watching, look. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, we get it, Marty. You're on a TV show. Yes, Canada's watching, but like, the part of like the self-referential about being on the show, I don't really like that. I want to just be watching you and you not really realize that we're there. Obviously I agree with you. Like I don't mind when Herman says something funny or cute to the thing and being like, oh my god, I get this guy, like whatever. Like I don't mind stuff like that, absolutely. And I don't mind even when people talk about their game necessarily to camera, once in a while, if it's somebody that I care about their thought process and what they're going to be, how they're thinking about this game, because
Yeah.
sometimes the diary rooms aren't really that
Yeah.
helpful because it's like it's produced. So
Yeah.
I do like sometimes hearing the real thoughts of some of these players, but Marty and the optics, always saying optics and
Oh my god. If I hear optics, I blame Gino for that. But if I hear optics one more time, I'm like, get a new word. Get a
yeah.
new word. But I agree. It's really intent for me. And so if someone's just saying something because they're saying something, it's fine. Oh,
Okay, sorry, you win. You
okay,
win
good.
there. My god, I was so like trying not to like offend you, being like, well, if that's what you like. Sorry, go ahead, continue.
No, I was just saying it's like intent. So like people doing it, I almost don't even care what for the reason. If it's here, there, whatever, who cares? But Marty's like very knows he's on a show and is doing it on like very purposefully, and it just drives me crazy.
Jonathan,
And
can you believe that I'm the same age as Marty?
it's well, it's so funny because like when they I've thought of that a few times when they're like calling him like the old man and so I was like, first of all, I'm a couple of years off and it's not.
You'd go to high school. You would be in high school at the same time
Yeah,
as Marty.
yeah, and I'm like, it's not that old. Calm down. I mean, he just looks a lot older, so
I mean, he's
not a
probably
lot,
a
but
year older than me, because his birthday I think is in December, and I think no, so he's kind of almost 2 years older than me, like month wise.
yeah,
I'm assuming he's born in 78. But like I'm just like, oh my god, like you literally would be 1 school year older than me. Like legit would be hanging out. Like I hung out with people that were older than me when I was in
Yeah.
high school. So
I'll give Marty the fact that like he seems to, like the fact that Summer had said, I am, kind of I would side with Marty and blah blah. So there, he has socially he's doing well for people who are, a lot younger than him, but I've done that. And I mean, it's not that difficult to kind of tap into some of your youthfulness and really
like I'm
we're all
still
adults, but
cool. He's
yeah.
not cool. I think it's the
But
difference.
Marty, he's like definitely feels much older than he is. So I've thought of about that a few times. I'm like, oh yeah, he's only, early 40s, right? So
Well, like actually though, he could. I don't actually know his birth date, but he actually could be the same age as me because if his birthday was in January, he's a Capricorn. It would either be in December or it'd be in January. If it's in January, he's like a couple weeks older than me, which is wild McWild.
and why does that throw you so much? Like what element of him?
Because I don't like whenever I see somebody that's supposed to be the same age as me, it just weirds me out. Or somebody's younger than me that I feel has a presence that's older that feels older than me. It just like I'm always like, really? Like even Frenchie will say from like the American version last summer, like he doesn't seem like he's like younger than you. You know what I mean? Like there's just some people that are just like it blows my mind when
Yeah,
they've had equal life experience to me and then but I don't feel like I relate to them just aesthetically.
right. And I'm all for normalizing even people who are older than that. I don't like that he's the old one in the house. Like I want to see people who are in their 40s, well into their 40s, into their 50s. I want to see that. And Big Brother is a place where you can have someone who is 60 years old and do very well. Like we've seen, in other games and in Survivor and things like that too. They don't need to be 20 something year olds. So I would love to normalize that and not have it's, see the edit of like I'm the older person. But
Can't
I
they just
do
have like
commend them.
three people from each decade, like three 20-year-olds, three 30-year-olds, three
Yeah.
40-year-olds, three 50-year-olds,
Have
and
like
then
a Battle of the
a couple
Ages
other.
season or something, where they have, yeah,
I mean, it just would
20s,
be really.
30s, 40s, 50s. Like, hey, there you go.
And I guess what's also I find really interesting when people are the same age as me that I don't feel like they are, is that they would have also the same like references about things. Like they will know who the Fugees are. They will like, you know what I mean? Like things that when I talked to somebody that was younger, they didn't know who the Fugees were. And I was like, I don't really understand how you could not know who the Fugees are. Like this was somebody that was really into like hip hop, rap, like,
Yeah.
saying that they're really diverse music or like wide range of music taste, and I'm like, you don't know who Lauryn Hill and the Fugees are. And so then I played them something and they're like, oh, like I've heard of that sample, or like, because other people sample different things from all different music
Yeah. As they did
artists.
as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But like they just had no idea who the Fugees were. I'm like, Ready or Not's my go-to karaoke song, and you don't know that song?
Fun fact, Fugees are the first concert that I ever went to.
Ah,
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember when I was in high
And
school.
so good, by the way. So good. Yeah.
I loved the Fugees, and so did everybody. Like that first CD was like I knew every single song. I've done so many dances to all the songs. And one thing we used to do, so we had this street called Willowdale. Have you been? You might know Willowdale, but it's in North York, and it's a pretty long street, but it's like goes up and down like this. So
Yes.
our friend Sean, he had this Bonneville, and like we just cram it, load it with people. We'd play the Fugees, we'd be smoking weed, and like we just would drive super fast down this hill, and like I mean it's super dangerous. We went through like stop signs and stuff like that, but like
A different
we'd just
time.
be
A
like
different time.
we just be going like this and singing Fugees, and like we just go around and do it again and again. It was like a roller coaster, and it was super fun and very dangerous and something that you'd only do when you were a teenager. But like that's just a memory that I have of the Fugees, and so the fact that somebody has never even heard of them, I'm just like, and you're 29, like what?
Yeah, it's
Talking
well,
to
it, I
but anyway,
mean,
so he would just know things that I would know, and like we would be able to relate on that level. And it just doesn't seem like I would be able to relate to him that way.
yeah, the age thing always throws me too. I mean, it has nothing to do about Big Brother, but like I get that way about Pokemon. Like I know nothing about
I
Pokemon.
have
Like
no
not
idea
a
what
thing.
I don't know what the
And
Pokemon
and
anything.
anyone like who's my age is like any of my friends are they had no idea. But like literally a year or two younger,
Yeah.
obsessed. obsessed. They
Yeah,
can name all
Pokemon
the
Go
little
when that was all a
kids.
thing, and like people were walking around the city
Yes.
with I'm like, I don't know what's happening here.
I was like, I don't know who anybody is except for Pikachu, and I didn't watch it. Didn't even realize it was like that close to my age range as to who was like, the viewers, I guess, or the fans, but of it. But yeah, it's one of those weird things. But
Well,
Marty
even
definitely
like
feels like so much older than me, so I'm surprised by his age all the time too.
there was never any like Disney Channel when like I was younger. So like when people talk about Disney Channel stars, I'm like, I don't know any of these people because it wasn't a thing. Like it didn't exist yet. So, anyways, both of us are finding that Marty seems as though he's a lot older than we are, but he probably has a lot of similar life experiences or cultural, like societal life experiences that shared with us because we would have been at high school at the same time. So I.M. says, I don't think Marty actually knows what optics are. If he did, he would stop talking
Mm,
about the black girls working together.
interesting. Yeah, if you don't know that what optics means, it's perception of what's going on. So
Well, because I
how
don't
you're being
know if
viewed.
they showed it on the episode. They might
I
have
know.
showed it a little bit last episode, but basically, like Marty's always, and same with Kyle, he's always grouping Tanisha, Betty, and Summer together, and like, oh, the three of them, or asking Summer about Betty, or asking Summer. It's always just like kind
Right.
of referring to them as a trio, and they're not really all working together, and they don't really all hang out all the time, the three of them together. So the only link that he is making is seemingly is because they have a similar background,
Has he
So,
said it, or has he said like the girls, or has he like flat out said like
well,
we're quoting here black folks working
Summer
together?
has come back at him and being like, "Hey, like I don't really appreciate you always lumping me together with all the other black women. Like it
Mm,
doesn't look good." So she has pointed it out to him, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't even notice it. I didn't realize it. I didn't mean it. Whatever." But like he doesn't even realize that he's doing it. He's not really
right.
aware.
That kind of
Ignorance. Yeah. Marty has an older
subtle
presence. It's hard to
racism.
describe. Exactly.
Because he talks about his kids like they're like 25 years old already. Like, you know what I mean?
How old
So
are they? Like 7? Like
I don't know. He talks about his kids like, and you would think they're like potentially like engaged to be married or something. Like he just
maybe
feels so much
that's what it
older.
is. He
Like,
does seem like a 60-year-old man with adult children.
yeah.
Part of this his social game is seeming decent and wise. Why he reads older. A lot of the house guests seem differential to him because of it. It could work for him. I mean, is he
Like I
really
said,
seem that wise? I can't stand listening to him, but maybe it's because I'm the same age as him.
and same. I can't say it. I mean, again, it seems to work for him in some capacity from what I'm watching because he fits in with certain people. But I mean, he would drive me crazy, and he does drive me crazy as a viewer. I don't like watching him. I um just don't want him in this game.
Check. I agree.
Sorry.
And so people think that because, well, I'm assuming the reason why people really want Marty in this game is because of the fact that he was selected by as Canada's favorite, basically, with that power. But they're not realizing it's actually just because he's a representative of East Coast Canada, and East Coast Canada always gets the votes. But, what can we do? Disney didn't exist. I don't think the Disney Channel didn't exist. Not Disney.
Like the star system of like having like the Miranda Cosgrove is I don't know names. I'm just
I
saying
think it's
stuff.
Miranda Cosgrove. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's a
and
person.
like those
Yeah.
people who did like like Dylan and whatever Sprouse and stuff like that. Like how they all these people who did. I mean, they did other stuff, but they did Disney and all these Disney stars that derived from like in a Miley. Like Miley was after my time too. So yeah, I'm there with you.
Yes, I hate him. We're not fans right now. But the house just wants to keep him in, which is really really annoying. But they don't know any better. If they're following Marty as their leader, it's like oh boy, that's not the right answer. I thought Britney Spears was Disney Channel. Maybe Jamie-Lynne. Britney Spears was the Mickey Mouse
Mickey Mouse
Club.
Club, yeah.
Mickey Mouse Club I can get behind. Most of you guys know the story that one of my friends was on the Mickey Mouse Club, and so I got to actually meet Justin Timberlake and Chasez, whatever, JC, when at her bat mitzvah, and so we kind of danced on her checkered dance floor together at one point. So that I get, but those people are all going to be born in probably around 78, 79, 80, 81, 82 is kind of the age range of the people from Mickey Mouse Club.
I think Brittany's like a year older than me, maybe. So a year
Brittany's
or two.
82. Yeah.
Yeah, a year older than me then. But yeah, her like you said, her sister is Disney, had a Disney show or was on a Disney show, I think. So,
and I think her sister's 10 years older than her, or maybe even more. She's quite a lot younger. I think it's about 10 years.
Jamie-Lynne, yeah, there's a good chunk of a difference at least.
But maybe Brittany was on the Disney Channel. I didn't know, but like I
think we would have seen clips of it. I haven't seen Brittany on any.
It might have been the Mickey Mouse Channel or the Mickey Mouse Club.
Mickey Mouse Club into like she was a teen when she was coming out with these hits. Like
like she was 18 in 1999, I think, when Oops, I Did It Again came out. Maybe she was 17. I totally remember that and being like, oh my god, like I can't believe Brittany is like showing her belly button. She's so young. Why is she like sexualizing herself?
Meanwhile, what were you showing? What were you showing, Chantele?
I was going to raves and like being a very, very bad person. Not very, very bad, but being very, very rebellious.
A little wild and rebellious.
Okay. Wild. Miranda is from Nickel. Oh my god! I don't even know what the difference is.
It's all the same to me. It's all the same to me. This is how old we are. Okay, it's all the same. It's all the same.
Nickelodeon, Nick at Night. Like I don't know any of those things. Like,
and we're also in Canada, so like that's American based too. So it's like it's
true,
a little.
But I would get those if I was that age. I would have those channels. I'm sure. Like I do remember watching maybe like Friday nights had like it was called, what was it called? Friday TV. It had like, what's that? Boy Meets World was on Friday nights. There's a bunch of these shows that were kind of like family shows that were geared towards young people. Like I remember watching Friday nights, a bunch of different shows, but Nick at Night, maybe my brother's your age, so I don't think that was a thing.
Nick at Night I watched in the States when I would travel, and I'd watch like The Nanny at 11 o'clock.
You wild person. Hi, Caitlin.
Nickelodeon. It's the same. Does Disney own Nickelodeon? I don't have no idea. Like it's all the same. It's literally all the same.
Thank you, Caitlin. I thank you for the education, because I don't know what the difference is. It's kind of like I don't know the difference between all the Marvels. Like I don't know what's DC, what's like Marvel, I don't know what those differences are. So it's just one of those things that I never got into, and
DC's like Batman, and like Marvel's is like the Avengers. I know that at least.
Okay. I thought Jamie was also on Nick. Oh my god, I don't know. Makes sense. I'm not up on Britney's history. I mean, that she was pretty much though out of big Mickey Mouse Club. She kind of got her record deal, and she just became a star from like she was 17. So I don't remember her being on Disney Channel, but also I never watched it. So
I would have done my research if I thought this was going to come up. Not because of Britney and Nickelodeon and Disney. I would have done research before coming on, but I had no idea.
Well, I'm going to do research from this point forward, so I can be a little bit more educated with my opinions here. Okay. So Gino felt backstabbed and wanted to put a message out to the house not to cross him. And if they're a friend that's going to cross him, that he would nominate them. He wouldn't hesitate to nominate a friend. So what do you think about Gino's message that he's sending by nominating Marty?
Yeah, I feel like he's answering something that wasn't asked. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I don't know that anyone was questioning something along, like you can just be very aware that you're not going to go along with something like that, and you're not okay with something. You don't need to be like trying to prove something that no one's kind of asking you to prove. So it was weird. It was a weird kind of thing for me for him to see him just kind of go so hard with that. And he's very like one track mind. Like once he gets something in his head, you heard it about 50 times in the episode. Yeah, I mean, he's at least more self-aware than Kyle is, but I don't know that he's the greatest player either. So,
Well, I think what's happening with Gino is that he hasn't had the opportunity to fear potentially being put on the block. So the first week we had Herman. He was working with Herman. He wasn't worried about going up on the block. Second week was Marty, not worried. Kyle, yeah, his week was messy, but he wasn't worried about being put up on the block. And now he's the HOH. And so he's never actually had to fear or like play any sort of game where he has to like make
Scramble or
some sort
anything.
of
Yeah.
allegiance or scramble or tell people what they need to hear. Like he hasn't had to do that. And so I think that he's just trying to put the fear in people to maybe to get them to not necessarily target him. He is dramatic though, I am.
Which is such like a weird kind of way of going about making alliances as far as I'm concerned, or like, I don't know. It was just a weird thing for me. And I would have liked to have seen Jacey-Lynne kind of like
on the episode.
on the episode, like it's his HOH. Like how do you build up all of this relationship beforehand and even have in the last episode a moment of like where they can't trust each other? Okay, no, we can trust each other now. Yeah, we were on the same page. Okay, good. We're in the same situation. And then you're like, don't talk game about it. Don't talk about your nominations. Don't talk about, your potential replacement noms, which we'll talk about later. So I just like, what a weird edited episode for me to watch too. It just did not make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that they should have shown some of the conversations that he had with Jacey-Lynne. She, if I am remembering correctly, was on board with Kyle potentially maybe to calm the waters. But I would have liked to see a little bit of that because we'd understand a little bit more about how he thinks and like his strategy, because he's quite internal with his thoughts. And then he says a few things, like you said, like, oh yeah, I want to send a message to the house. But like, he doesn't really talk a lot. He doesn't really show that much as what he's doing. So it would be nice to see him having an unguarded moment with Jacey-Lynne where you could see a lot about what he's thinking, what he's feeling.
Yeah. If this is Gino as an HOH, I don't want to see it again. I'm just like, I'm not interested in it.
Next podcast, Disney and Nickelodeon history. Maybe in the off time, it could be interesting to see what I was watching when people were watching something that I have no idea about. I was probably watching Survivor.
We were watching reality shows.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was probably watching The Challenge or The Real World or something.
Yeah,
definitely.
We've been watching it for 20 years plus. It's like, I mean, 30 years if you want to talk about like Real World and things before that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Literally, because The Real World started in, I think, 92. So I watched that. I watched Star Search, guys. That was like the original, like the OG of reality TV shows. I watched Cops. I think that was the original like reality TV show.
Yeah, same.
They'll pop up. More will pop up. But I would be interested because I actually just have no understanding. Like even I don't remember his name. Is it maybe Keenan? That's on SNL right now. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Like I know he's from things that I have never seen before. Like, was it You Like Fries with That? What is it called?
Oh, he Kel and oh my gosh. Yeah, but there was a movie that they did, but also like based off the show, right?
Right, but I've never seen the show. And I remember like that Kel guy was on Dance with the Stars. I'm like, no clue.
Yeah.
No clue.
Keenan and Kel and Keenan? Like, was it named after them? I don't know. Not even a showman segment. Exactly. Like, where did she go? She leave the house for some reason? Like,
I don't know. Maybe she's in the head of household room. Maybe she's in that new room. They didn't even show the new room being revealed. Did you notice the new room?
No. I was also eating, but like, was there an announcement?
Stand and like it's like a little beachy room. It's brand new.
I blinked and I missed it.
Jess was in the room at one point. I think I wrote it down when they're in the new room, but I was like, you didn't even have like the room reveal.
Wait, I do remember like someone kicking something or me like looking briefly, but I didn't even register because I was focusing on what people were saying instead and trying to read the subtitles of all the French in the episode. But yeah, it's it was a weirdly edited episode.
I agree here. Why get into a showman's and not be a power duo? It's kind of like maybe they're trying not to come across as a power duo. I don't know. But like, I wouldn't be surprised though if Jacey-Lynne wins power. I feel like that's kind of the way that the season's gonna go. Is that like that side is just gonna keep on taking out their own people and like still continuing to win power. I just feel like she's due for a HOH.
Next week's really important, I think, for me as a viewer, because it needs to switch up now. I'm over it, and it needs
Mhm.
to kind of like something else needs to happen, because
Yeah.
how it's been going, I'm like done with. Don't find it entertaining. Let's move on. So
I do like that it's been 4 Virgos most likely are going to be leaving in a row. And this, I believe, is either the third or fourth Kyle to leave in the 4th week in Big Brother Canada, which is wild. I love that stat. Right?
yeah, it's more than just a coincidence.
Reno 911. I don't
No,
know if
that was
I've watched
later.
that.
That was after. That was with wasn't Niecy Nash and Reno 911?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't really watch that though.
No, me either.
Is there anybody that you thought would be better at the comps? Well, it's kind of hard because I feel as though people aren't actually trying that hard. Like, they don't really want to win these powers, and so this is kind of why every single week one of the nominees have been winning power, and so it's been so like shaken up. Every single head of household has been a new person. The only person that's won 2 competitions has been Marty, and every time the nominee has won and taken themselves off the block. So it's really hard to say because it's been well-rounded and it hasn't been like there's one person that's been super good at everything. So I don't know. I don't think that Summer wants to win anything right now. So I can't really tell. I can't tell yet. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, is there any I don't think that I've thought that there like that hasn't been a question that I've asked myself. I mean, it's not something that's really come up, because like again, this is why I hate that the HOH can't play in veto, and it's not something that I've really thought of, because I mean, same. It's like, do they want to win it? Probably not. Like, why put yourself out there? Why, you know,
Make yourself a target right now when
exactly.
it's already messy enough, and then
But
you like
especially
having
if you're
somebody
gonna,
begging you to use
yeah,
it.
unless you know you're the replacement nom, which we saw today, like where someone's like worried about that and they're really trying to win it. But I mean, no, I think they've been pretty like, when we talk about this game, I didn't understand where it was coming from. Like, why are we doing this game right now? But like the theme of it. But yeah, we'll talk about that once we get into it.
We'll get there like pretty shortly. JL wins head of household, nominates Gino. Doesn't trust Gino. Gino lied to her, didn't let her know that Kyle was going up on the block. I don't know, something stupid. I actually don't think she would do that. I do think that she would probably go after one of the women that she doesn't get along with. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think. I mean, maybe like she might go for Summer because like Summer and Gino have their little friendship, and she might be a little bit jealous of that. I don't know. So I wouldn't be surprised if she goes for like a Summer and a Tanisha type vibes. It's probably good for her game because I think that they could target her potentially. I only care about showmances if they control the game. Well, if they're good at the game, yeah, that's the only time I really care about them. I mean, I don't mind like the googly eyes for a little bit. It's interesting, but if they're not going to use the fact that they have someone that they trust in the game to their advantage, then it's like, okay, well, you just making yourself a target. You're not even using that duo ship as like
Yeah,
give you some power in the game.
I'm not a showman's person. I don't
I
love it.
know.
Yeah, a little sprinkle of something where we're not shoving it in your face, like, then I complain that I didn't see her this episode. But I mean, like, it was just weird. But yeah, I don't mind like what we've been seeing so far. But I'm not a fan of showmances overall. It's not part of the game that I like to see.
I only like showmances when I'm like really want them to get together. So in season 7 of the US version, All Stars, original All Stars, I wanted Janelle and Dr. Will to get together so badly. I know that he's in his own relationship or whatever, but like I wanted them to play together. I wanted them to be together. Like I was definitely shipping that relationship. Did you like them or no?
I'm not Not that I
Chanel's fan?
dislike, but I'm not a Dr. Will fan. I
Okay,
know
like Jonathan,
I'm
like
I'm like, I
know I
know.
love you, but
Yeah.
like this is a very unpopular opinion.
No, I know my one of my best friends is like, and I don't even watch Big Brother, and she loves Dr. Will. But I no, and he's fine, and like, listen, if you Mike Boogie over Dr. Will, no, I'm picking Dr. Will, but it's like I'm not. I just wasn't like, he knows he's pretty, and I don't love that when someone's like, oh, I know I'm good looking, I'm amazing, like, love me. Funny, sure. Entertaining,
I'm
yes.
half
Don't get me
I'm a
wrong.
half man, half amazing. You didn't
But I'm such a fan of Janelle. I'm like, Janelle, you could just, you deserve the world. I like That's like what I was thinking when watching. And so I don't know. I just and the fact that he was like playing, yeah, I'm not the biggest doctor. I
But
mean,
okay, so
fine.
the
Entertaining,
difference is
sure.
so this is around the same time where I fell in love with Rob, Boston Rob. So this was the first time that there was attractive men on reality TV that were both showing me how to be strategic in playing these social experiment games. And so I think I might have a crush on the gameplay aspect that they brought out of me, because
Yeah.
if it wasn't for both of them, I don't think that I would be so interested in the strategy that goes into these competitive reality
But like,
TV shows.
why can't that be a woman who's showing us how to do that and run this
Well,
game and play it and
the
be
first person
strong
I
and like
saw was
Lisa? Come on,
season
Lisa.
2. Season 2, I was the first thing that I saw. I had the feeds because season 1 didn't have any sort of competitive element to it, really. So season 2, I remember watching, having the feeds, and be like, "Oh my god, like this guy's amazing! Like he's so good!" Like, and just like wanting to watching all of his antics and what he was doing and his strategy behind it, and like I was just like, I was swept away, and I'm like, Andy's cute. I'm like, oh my god, he's cute and he's smart and he won. Like, it was just amazing. So he was, for Big Brother, it was like he was my first, you know.
You'll never forget your first.
Exactly. Him
Do you
and
like
Boston
the
Rob both.
do you like the gray and the
No, I don't like his look now.
okay.
His look
All
now
right.
is too what he looks like now, you know?
Well, it
I
it it
loved it
throws
when
me
he
a
was
little.
my age and we were like both the same
Okay.
age and on the show.
He has such a youthful looking face too. It's like a little weird when the
Go gray.
hair almost doesn't match, but no, I get it. I understand it for sure. I understand it.
So I am says the only thing I want Summer winning is a veto when she needs it. I mean, I hope so. I just don't. I'm not sure if she's going to be good at competitions though. I can't tell because she doesn't need to win right now. So
Yeah, but
even though I
I'm a
think she should win and get some power and get some.
she's a little too comfortable and like throwing the fact that that those words around so freely that like I have some weight in this house and some influence or whatever she said. Be
I
careful
was
who you
like,
tell that to. Be
like
careful who you tell that to.
mhm. Um, I was hoping we're gonna get to, a tub scene this season. Like, oh,
Hot tub?
like a bat bathing together or hot tub. Do we have a hot tub? Yeah, there's a hot tub. There's been some on the feeds, but I haven't seen it on the
They
show
all
yet.
jumped in. I think Moose was talking about being wild and crazy last episode, and we saw. Didn't we see Moose kiss Marty?
I think so. They were all
Yeah,
everyone was kissing everybody. They got some beer for St. Patty's Day and some pizzas,
mhm.
and they were in the hot tub.
We saw a little bit of
Um,
that. Not today's
or
episode,
do you mean
especially.
like Jacey-Lynne and Gino like making out in the hot tub? Ooh, could be interesting. Thank God I watched season 4 of Survivor last week, so I know who Rob is. So Rob Mariano, he was the first person that really made me understand strategy in Survivor. I remember thinking, like, I remember not liking Richard Hatch because I'm like, oh my God, he's cheating. Like, I felt that that's how I was thinking about it. I was like, you can't do that. You can't, like, you know, work the numbers in that way. Like, it's like, I want it to be like an honest game. And then Boston Rob, though, made me see, like, oh, how strategy works and why you would use it. And so, yeah, Boston Rob, it's always be my true loves. Um, absolutely. Danielle Reyes was
Yeah, there you
amazing.
go. Yeah.
I'll take credit for her too, being an Aquarius. Lisa's also an Aquarius, so I'm down
Robbed.
with both of them.
Robbed.
Danielle was robbed, absolutely.
Robbed.
He
Oh,
was
like
boyish. Now that's gone. I think
Will,
that
Dr.
Dr.
Will.
Will still looks boyish, but I just don't like his plastic surgery face. Like it's just it's too puffy or
It's a little
something.
Botoxy, some filler. I mean,
Yeah.
I like the thing I like about Dr. Will too is that he's gone on to not have like some sort of like crappy career as just trying to be in the limelight. Like he's a doctor, continued on with that, obviously, and it's very successful. And I'm like, yeah, I definitely appreciate that kind of storyline in real life.
Who was my celebrity crush when I was younger? Okay, the person that just popped into my head was his name is Khalil Kane. Now he doesn't look that
What?
cute, I don't think, but or he's okay now, but he has like a grown daughter that's gorgeous. And
Wait, who's that?
he's in what was the movie called where they're all dressed up like the army people? He was just so cute back in the day. Oh,
Where
let
they're
me
all
find it
dressed
for
up
you
as
guys.
army people. What else happens in the movie? I should be able to help you.
Stacey Dash might be in it. Hold on, I can't remember. Hold on.
Stacey Dash and
Maybe.
army people.
But I used to love him. Oh, he was also in Juice, I think.
Oh, we're going like that far back. I don't know him. Wait, what
What was
happened
the
to him?
movie? I think he's still kind of acting. I used to like have such a crush on him. Okay, hold on. Let me go to IMDb. Find him. Who was your celebrity crush?
I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Get back to you.
Renaissance Man, with Danny DeVito. I watched
My
that
God.
movie over and
I
over
haven't thought
and
about that
over.
movie in 20 years. So I mean, like I haven't thought about that movie in a long time. I was like, what? Wow.
I
Okay.
loved that movie, and I used to watch it all the time. And he was on it,
Gosh.
and I had a crush on him. So that's the person that just popped into my head. Obviously, like I loved 90210, so like Brandon and Dylan were on my walls, kind of thing, for sure.
R.I.P. Luke Berry.
R.I.P. Absolutely. A lot of Big Brother people tend to shut up and go back to their lives, which I liked. Yes, they do.
I like that too.
Well, it's also the mentality of the people back in the day. Like now, everybody's just trying to ride that 15 minutes
Yeah.
because like social media and because like have more opportunity being awarded to them. But back then, you're off the show. If some people didn't watch the show, they actually didn't know who you were. Like
Yeah.
there's no article. Maybe your town.
Minus Eddie, who was an
went to
actor,
acting.
and he would like just continued on with that. And I've seen in a couple little things here or there.
Oh, my boy's on Girlfriends on next. I've only seen a few episodes. Maybe I knew this. Does she date? I've only seen a few episodes, but you know what? Maybe he was her boyfriend,
Well,
or like a guy that she's singing.
Gotta binge it now, don't you?
Khalil Kane. Yes, I love him. My questions are all for Chris's and Reggie. I don't know who these people are, Natalie.
Who are we talking about? All four Chris's. All four Chris's. All four of them. Who are the four Chris's?
Oh, like Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pine, Chris. Can we name them all?
Yeah. Chris Pine, yes. Chris Hemsworth. Chris
Kirkpatrick.
Who else is a Chris? Christopher. I don't know. Chris Red from. No, probably not.
Chris Evans. Evans is one.
Didn't he just like shave recently or someone people are losing it over.
I don't know anything about him. Not really. Who's the fourth Chris? Chris Kattan. In the UK, they tend to become mini celebs because of the tabloids. Absolutely. Like, I probably know more UK reality people than the American ones just because they get a lot more famous. Yes, Killian plays Maya's husband, Darnell. Yes. You guys are funny. Pratt. Okay, yes, we were right though. So Chris Pine, Chris Evans, Chris Pratt, and Chris Hemsworth. None of which I find attractive. Are you into those guys?
Chris, hold on. Who's handsome? Chris Pratt, Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Pine has really nice
I would say
eyes.
the best looking out of all of them is probably like Hemsworth. He's the nicest. I just feel like he's the nicest.
Australian, you know. So
he's like he's the nicest person from what I know. So I mean, not to say that the other ones aren't, but I'm just saying
they're all good looking. I just don't tend to like light hair or light eyes. It's not usually my vibes. I usually like, if you're gonna have light eyes, you're gonna have to have dark skin or dark hair. Well, it's easier to get famous in the UK because their land mass is about 500 square feet. That's true, and there's a lot of people there. And they support their people for sure. And those tabloids are huge. I kind of want to move to England. I've been watching Ladies of London, and it's just like, I'm like, I need to go to England.
Let's go. I have a lot of family there. Let's go.
I have a lot of family there. I used to go there in my summers.
I've been several times. Let's go.
I'd go to England with you. Let's do it. Like, no joke. I love England.
I love it. I just love architecture and whatnot, and so having a lot of those old buildings, castles, things like that.
Knowing that they've been there for like hundreds, like 500 years, is so amazing. Yeah. Agreed. Okay, we're still at the beginning of this episode. So Gino actually goes to try to talk to Marty, and Marty is so angry that he won't even talk to Gino. And Gino's like doing what a respectable HOH is going to do. He said sorry to Jess, and they hugged. And now he's going to have a little bit of a conversation with Marty. Marty, who also said, I understand if you put me up. I understand what I did to you. I backstabbed you. Like I went to the other side. Like I get it. I understand if you're going to put me up. So he knew he was going to be put up on the block. So like him having this temper tantrum over the verbiage that he used in a speech, it's just like, I thought it was like,
and then just very like give me 2 minutes, please. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, let's stop being dramatic. And you know me, I don't love when people play emotionally. I not only felt that a lot of this was emotional, but it was emotionally on purpose. And so there's probably nothing that drives me more crazy. I thought it was very showboating for at-home people, and I was not loving any of it.
Well, and then after he says like, oh yeah, Kyle's HOH, he's like, bring on the competition, bring on. And I'm just like, I don't want you to get hyped up and then and win. I'm just like, yeah. So Gino and Summer has a chat. So this is a chat that you kind of referenced a little bit a couple of times. And so Gino, one thing that Gino says is, between you and me, I want Marty to win the power veto. And then the other, which I think is like, please don't be saying that to anybody. Like, I just don't think that he's in a good position to already look like what he's doing is a lie, right? Like, letting that get out there that he doesn't necessarily want Marty to go home. I don't think it looks good if he's trying to convince people they're not working together as much, and then like it gets out that it's all for optics.
Well, I don't think Gino should have won HOH. His best move actually is, you know me, in a lot of these games, I don't think safety is your best move, because sometimes definitely you need that kind of power to take you through and make certain decisions and whatnot. But listen, if Gino was an HOH and someone else was, what would have happened? Sure, he might have been up. He might have been up against Kyle. Then win your POV then, okay? Then Kyle goes, and then what's left of people forget about you, more so, and probably other things have happened within that period of time. So I don't think he should have even tried to go for HOH, beyond that, I mean, what he's doing is not setting himself up for any success in the coming weeks. I just think it's,
Mhm.
he's laying on Kyle for having a horrific HOH, very rightfully so, but he's
Marty's
not
wasn't
doing.
that great either. Marty says his HOH was like amazing. It wasn't that great
Marty's
either.
wasn't great. Gino's isn't great. And so, I mean, the whole point is set yourself up for good things to come. And I don't see that happening. So maybe it's not being shown, but I haven't seen it.
No, it's not happening. I think it's because he hasn't had to play the game really yet. He's always been in a position of power. I think that he could have maybe thrown it. So the final four for that head of household competition was himself, Betty, Moose, and Marty. So maybe he was worried that Marty would be coming after him, maybe. Because they just had that blind side. So I think he probably felt like he wasn't safe with anybody, and he just wanted to be able to maybe figure out what happened, what went wrong. He was on the
Yeah.
wrong side of the
Oh,
numbers. It's kind of
I
like him
get
or
it.
Jacey-Lynne had to win.
You're one of two people who didn't vote the right way. And I absolutely get it. But in reality, I don't think it was needed. I understand if he wins it, but then just play it well and do what you need to do and make sure that you're building upon your game in a positive way already. And I don't think he's done any of that,
True.
in my opinion.
So you also didn't like how Summer stated to him that, like, I have a lot of influence in this house, and like,
Yeah.
maybe did she say in this conversation that Kyle should be maybe someone that you consider putting up? Did she say that then?
I don't know if she said his name, but she definitely implied it.
Mhm.
And I think that was understood. But yeah, I don't, and great. I don't know what the relationship is fully between her and Gino, but at the same time, I would never go about, wouldn't tell my best friend in the house that I have influence and I can do things unless it was a reason why they would need me or keep me
Keep
for
you, yeah.
something, like it's a benefit to them because I do have influence. I would never be like, well, look, like, why is she saying that? Like, I don't,
I think
flaunting
I
it
think
around.
that it's fear, like, because of the fear of the house not voting with him. I think she's just trying to, hey, like, you would have the votes if you went a certain way. And so I think she's trying to be subtle about
Yeah.
saying, like, hey, don't worry, you're not going to be made a
But
fool like
and there's
Kyle.
other ways of saying it. Like you could have, I mean, you have to be really careful what you say to people. And as we all know, and it's like you could have said in many other ways, like, from what I hear or what people tell me, or like rather than like, look, this is my position in the house. So I know. And, this is what I'm telling you. It was just a weird way of saying it. I don't know. I didn't like it
Nobody in this
for her.
house though is playing that well or is that smart. So
And I just thought that indicates potentially bad gameplay for the future when she might be in a position to make bigger mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily see her making the best decision. It seems like who's her target now that Kyle's going to be gone. Hard to say. And I don't know
So
if she
that's
will
why
choose the right person for her game.
Gino should never have put up Kyle, in my opinion. And I mean, I know we're not there yet, but sure, we're skipping ahead. And it's like, I was like, that's terrible.
I am says I did cringe when Summer said I have a lot of influence in this game. Yeah, but I think it's Summer and Gino, and Summer speaks with him like that. Okay, I mean, they do have a different relationship than they each have with other people in this game. It's worrisome though, to let that information out, because if people start thinking of you that way, it makes you a very easy target.
And
Like,
you're
let's
right.
just dismantle that whole side, take out
But
Summer,
you're
right?
also smack in the middle of the house at this point. And I like physically, geographically, like you were in the open saying you weren't tucked away in a corner, like whispering it. It was like very right there. Someone was passing by, someone was in the washroom, perhaps could have heard you. So, I mean, I was like, what are you doing?
Hi, Agent Secret. I was like worried that you might have spoiled something about Survivor. I haven't watched Survivor yet. I've watched the first 15 minutes, but I have not seen the
Yeah,
episode.
we
So
don't talk about
please,
Survivor in
yes,
the Big
no
Brother chat.
Survivor
No
spoilers right now.
spoilers.
I think it depends on who you're speaking to. Gino is the kind of person who doesn't want to ruffle any feathers, and he doesn't want to be a target or so. Her saying that to him influence his decision. That is true. It
Yeah.
seems as though Gino is somebody that wants to be cool, or like he's used to being cool. And so I think that he was really rattled by the fact that his affiliation with Kyle actually allowed him to not be considered cool. Like him and Jacey-Lynne is the cool couple. Like they are, the prom king and queen vibes. And so the fact that they were completely ousted, I think that rattled him big time.
Yeah. Like I'm not saying it was ineffective, and I'm not saying it didn't, it wasn't needed to be done. I'm just saying that the way it went, Summer went about it worried me, and that kind of specific language, time and place, yada yada yada, is just the whole thing was like, not great. Again, could have been done other ways, just as effectively.
Shelly here has an unpopular opinion. Hi, Shelly. So I like the old guy. I want Marty to make it to at least jury. I'm rooting for Kevin, but I think Summer will win. Summer's running the house under everyone's noses. I think we're giving Summer a bit too much credit. I think Kevin is more so running, like he's not really in a power position, but I think that he has a lot more influence in what's going on, and he's kind of playing a little bit like I don't know what's going on, and but he's now not anybody's target anymore. He's who people want to pull in for a number or tell about what their plans are. So I think Kevin is actually doing doing a little bit of undercover work. Even Herman a little bit trying to fix what happened last week. But Summer, as much as I really do like Summer, I just don't think that she is running the house.
I don't think anyone's running the house. I think it's a collaborative. Like there's certain people who have positioned themselves well within the house, but I don't think anyone's running the house from what I see anyway. And
yeah,
definitely not Summer.
I don't think it's Summer, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Kevin would be more so a person that's kind of a little bit puppeteering, but it is, I think, because the other side hasn't gained any power yet, it's really hard to see where everybody actually stands and what influence everybody has on, what's going to be going down. So we'll see. I like all these people, though. Well, not Marty, but I'm curious to see how their games evolve. That's true, Jonathan. She could have said it differently. Absolutely. Yeah. Does Gino talk to JC about Summer? Why hasn't Jacey-Lynne gotten territorial? Maybe she has. I haven't necessarily seen it on the feeds, but there might be some looks here or there, but like nothing specific. Kevin, Herman, and Summer are the front runners for me. I agree. Those are my three favorite people in this game so far. From what I've seen, I like their personalities. I like what it seems like they're doing. So if they continue doing this and just get better at the game, like I'm rooting for those three. Absolutely.
I think there's a couple others that could be,
Helena, like I can pull in there too. Sorry.
Josh seems to have gone like
I like Josh too,
under the radar maybe a little bit more this week, and if he can continue that way and other things happen, who knows? So yeah, I think there could be a few more surprises with those three names that I think are the front runners. Yeah.
Josh is definitely someone that I just forgot, which is good. Just after being on the blog and I forgot about you, like that's great. You're not doing too much and you are insulated in the right way right now. Hopefully he gets power. Marty for head of household. Oh my God. No, I just need someone new. Please, and I would love it to have some estrogen energy, please.
Remember when I said 15 minutes ago that I just needed things to change up next week, or else this show is not entertaining me right at the moment. Marty as HOH is not that. I mean, we've already been there, done that. No, thank you.
I would love to see some estrogen in the head of household room, please. Estrogen, like anybody else would be that hasn't had it already. I would be interested in seeing. Yeah, anybody else. Okay, so what else happened this episode? So we see Jess checks in on Marty, and Marty's still like really upset about like what he said in front of Canada and like go Canada. And he's fired up right now, fired up to win that POV. And so, okay. I had a feeling he was gonna win. What did you think about him being all fired up?
Yeah, it was definitely edited so that either him and Jess would win it. Like you could tell by the edit essentially. So which I don't know, I didn't really love. Honestly, I was probably rooting for Jess. I don't know why. It just was. Yeah, I just don't like watching Marty on my TV. So any screen time, I'm like, can you just take him out this week? Because he's already had so much screen time this week. Like, can he just go? Can we be done?
So I am says, given these first 4 weeks, I'm excited about the jury phase. I mean, it's going to get pretty messy because, and I like everybody for the most part in the game. So I am very curious how things are going to kind of play out, especially when things get more intense and people get closer to the money, where it gets a little bit more real. So I think it's going to be a good jury phase. Because yeah, there's going to be at least one person, no matter what, in the house that's going to be playing to win. I just can't imagine them taking out all the players, you know? Like who would do that? I don't think so. So Gino finally pulls Marty in and they have a conversation. And, you know, Marty talks about like, you hurt me like right here. You hurt me right there. And one thing that drives me crazy about Marty, he actually doesn't let people talk. He always talks over people and he doesn't fully listen to what people are saying. And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't really connect with him, because like he just kind of talks at people. He doesn't seem to be having it doesn't seem to be a fluid kind of relationship that he has with these people. He just like, yeah, like tells Gino his point of view, and Gino's like kind of explaining himself, and like Marty doesn't care about it. So now he's coming after you and I'm going after Kyle. And it's like, even if that's true, Marty, he's still the head of household right now. And like you should like, I guess he put you up on the block, but you should be trying to mend fences or something. I just thought
I mean,
tactics were
yeah,
bad.
it's a certain tactic for sure, but this is such a missed opportunity. I thought that if you're gonna play him emotionally, play it fake, and I was waiting for him to turn. I'm like, this is when you turn to the camera and be like, wink, or like, you're like, you really, because what we see at the end, it kind of works. Like Gino is trying to get in his good graces kind of at the end and mend things. But I'm like, so, and this is the foundation for that, really, that they're showing us. But I'm like, wait, this isn't fake. Like, I hate when people play emotionally unless it's done to manipulate other people into getting their way. And I was like, turn to the camera and say that you're faking it, or walk into the other room and being like, haha, like whatever, right? And he didn't do it. Like the only time he didn't do it, I'm like, oh, is he being serious?
Yeah, he was being
I was
serious.
like,
That's why it was like annoying. I'm coming after you. I'm coming after Artie, and I'm coming after
see,
Jacey-Lynne. Like what?
if this was US, someone would be walking to another room and smiling at the camera like that. And that's why I don't like Marty right there. I'm like, it's not a good, I mean, I think it's effective in that it works, but it's just like almost coincidental. I was just like, it wasn't intentional. And like, you can't play, if someone tries to play emotionally with me, I'd be like, get out of here. I'm like, it's not being too rough on Marty.
I'm being too rough on Marty. The girls have talked about a black alliance, so let's be fair. I haven't seen them talk about a black alliance. I've seen them saying that they feel like they're being pushed into that. And I think that, the fact that there was the cookout last season, that everything that they do, people are already grouping them together into having that be what's going on. And whenever people are talking about the other side of the house, they're lumping in all the black players together. And so they haven't always been specifically, from what I've seen, said that they're working together, and definitely not what they've shown on the TV show, that all the black players have decided that they're working together. So
Yeah,
I can
I
be
don't
hard on
watch.
Marty because I don't really vibe with his energy.
Yeah, I don't watch the lives, and I have not picked up on that at all. That there's any sort of the girls about a black alliance or a girl black alliance or anything like that. So I haven't picked up on it from what I've been seeing. But I mean, I'm crapping on Marty just for other things, because I haven't seen this at all. So this is new
Yeah, I
information.
mean,
But
like
like
the reason why I don't
everything
like
else,
Marty isn't even because of that. It's because he does that. Like, I don't like how he's speaking to Gino. That's what we're talking about right now.
yeah.
I don't like that he panders to the camera. I don't like that he reacts emotionally. I don't like that he is so transparent that he blows up his game and other people's game at the same time. Like, I just don't like how he plays the game.
And he
Like,
just rubs me the wrong way as a viewer, and not a character that I like on the show.
Exactly. Have they talked about the Black Alliance before or after Marthy kept on mentioning the 3 Black women together? Exactly. I think it was after that. Because if people are going to be grouping you together, you might as well be working together, because if that's just kind of what ends up happening, because you're like, well, we need to protect each other now if people already think that we're working together. It's kind of like a showman's. If you're not in a showman's, but it seems like you're in a showman's, you might as well be in the showman's and start working together if people are going to put you guys up beside each other anyways. So I think that the accusations and the fear of a Black Alliance became before any
And
potential of
and
a Black
we've
Alliance.
seen that before when there's like, oh, is there an all girl alliance? Well, there wasn't, but now there might be, because like if people are assuming it anyway, like it gives people the motivation to,
Get
do
together.
that, right? So we've seen it before.
Hundo. Okay, so Gino does feel bad about seeing Marty, and he was pretty emotional in the confessional in the diary room, and kind of like he wants to make things right with Marty. So I understand that. They pick players for the veto competition. I love doing these spins. It's actually pretty fun for me. I know some people don't particularly like it, but I like it. So Marty's up first. He gets guest choice. He picks Summer. Jess is up next. They pick Tanisha. Well, house guest choice, picking Tanisha. Gino spins and it lands on Helena. So the players are going to be Summer, Tanisha, Helena, Marty, and Jess as the nominees. So definitely Marty is happy with the veto picks.
We see more talking to camera on Marty's behalf.
Jess is talking to Marty and feeling as though Gino was really happy with that draw, and they think that Gino wants Marty to do well, and they don't feel as though Gino cares about them at all, that's not really a great feeling to have. And so I'm surprised that being so emotional Gino is, that he's not even recognizing that maybe Jess might feel a type of way about how he's treating them. So bad gameplay, guys. So they all so Tanisha, Summer, and Moose are talking, and they all want Tanisha to win this because Tanisha is aware that she was a thought of being a replacement nominee, and so she would like to win to save Marty, and then potentially put up somebody else that's more, maybe a Kyle, fingers crossed type thing.
Yeah, I like Tanisha a lot.
I do too. And I wish that she wasn't being targeted. It's because people kind of think that she's running that side of the house when she really isn't at all. So getting a lot of credit that she doesn't actually deserve right now, which is unfortunate. And that's kind of why Gino feels as though he wants to nominate her. All right. So Christmas in March, you hated it.
I don't understand it. Like, why are we doing
I didn't understand it either.
Like,
it could have been, why don't you St. Patty's Day or something, March Madness, something else? I don't know.
Or like, yeah, anything. Like, it was just like, it was a weird kind of, why are we doing this? I mean, Christmas is flashy, sure, but yeah, how come we don't have more people with accents?
How come we don't have more people with accents on Big Brother? Well, there's
all have
only
accents.
Yeah, they do actually. You could hear
it drives me crazy.
Kyle has an accent. Obviously, Gino has an accent.
The announcer, the narrator has an accent. I mean, the Big Brother, like that he has an accent when he was like in the Big Brother house, and I was like, oh gosh, it drives me crazy. Yeah, we have a lot.
Tanisha has an accent. Obviously, Marty has an accent. Gino has an accent. Tanisha has an accent. I hear Kyle's accent a lot. That's the only people that stand out to me that have an accent.
Summer has an accent. Oh, I mean,
Summer plays up like kind of like a Toronto kind of accent. She plays that up a bit.
But I
Toronto Mandem.
I hear it in almost everyone. I didn't pay attention. Sorry to who you just mentioned, but I'd have to
I said Toronto Mandem.
No, but before, like who you listed off as who you think who has an accent or who has an accent that you've heard. I mean. But yeah, there's a lot. Mostly everybody has a Canadian accent.
It's when they say words with like house, moose. Yeah. Or they'll say things like what's the word that I always try to like because I work as an actor, I do my best to Americanize words
Well,
as
they're
much as possible.
obviously
Like
number
so,
one. They're stories instead of sorry.
sorry, sorry. I say sorry. I'm like make sure that I say sorry. Um, like I would normally say produce, but it's you want to be more American. You like produce.
Yeah,
I
like
think
process or process. It's I think
yeah. I
is better.
say I'd
Yeah.
make myself say process, not process. Definitely though. I say A. I do say A. Absolutely. Yeah, right. Shut up. You
I do
do.
not say A at
Do you
all.
mean accents from different language? Summer has an accent. She has a Toronto accent,
Summer has an
which could be
accent.
stirring from like I believe one of her parents is Jamaican. So, like most Torontonians, Black Torontonians will have a Caribbean parent at least one, and so it's a little bit of a like half patois, half like Toronto, like come chat with me. Like
But
it's a mix of patois in Toronto.
it's very like, I mean, if they're young like that, depending on, and they're born here, it's very, I feel like, put on, and leaned into, because it's kind of what a lot of like even just like white people do in certain areas of Toronto as well. So it's with the whole, I'm not going to do it, but with the whole fam thing, and
Oh, goodbye,
it's
fat. Like, oh, I mean, I
yeah,
have somebody. I wish I don't know if they have a video right
it's
now,
like
but there's like a perfect impersonation of like
I saw
Toronto Mandem.
I saw someone, yeah, on TikTok talking about it, and the guy was like, I think he was like an American, and he came up here and he's like, "Calm down, you're from Hamilton, okay? Calm down." And it's like, because he was doing the whole thing. It's a thing.
Like on the show Jurassic, they all have Canadian accents. They're all Canadian. Like, you know, they're from here. They're from Canada. So what do you think about this competition? So I know that you didn't like the fact that it was Christmas in March because it
Yeah,
made no
so
sense.
I just did this
We've never really seen this
competition.
before,
Yeah,
have we?
I've just did this competition.
Oh,
I
you did. Yeah.
personally in an org, yeah, with like red solo cups, but using your hands to hold it up against the wall. So I know firsthand that it's all about very consistent pressure, and placement has to be perfect. It was so obvious that Marty had the best placement,
It was
and
perfectly lined up.
yeah, and that is everything. So as well as the constant pressure, because that's really the two things that will get you. And so yeah, it was really evident. Tanisha had like
Oh, it was like
one box
halfway
was like,
down. It
yeah, I
was
was like, there's no way you're winning from that. It's not one of those things that you can kind of really come back from. And yeah, so I mean, I like the competition. I like Christmas, unlike Jess, but I like Christmas. And so I didn't mind seeing it. I just didn't understand what it's doing in this like game show season of Big Brother. But at the same time, yeah, I like the competition. Sure.
yeah. Theme was
Yeah.
weird. Comp was cool. Agreed. Did you see? I guess I'm a little bit more heartless like you in the sense that like I wouldn't
Heartless.
be crying about a letter.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
probably
I
because
don't
we're both
understand it.
air signs.
I haven't seen my family in 2 years with COVID. I don't care. It's like I mean, I'm like playing for money, like you're busy, you're doing something like, for them. So I don't understand. That's just me. I don't understand why people like, and yes, I'm not a parent, so I can't speak on that behalf. I
Absolutely.
get it. Can't speak on that behalf. But I don't, well, sorry, I have my fur babies. But I would miss them dearly, but I would not be crying over anyone.
Yeah.
So that's
Even
just
on
me.
like Survivor, I wouldn't be crying for the loved one visits, like or getting letters. Like I would definitely be the person that I'll sacrifice my letter for all you guys to get
Oh,
yours. Like
100%.
that's
And I
me.
don't and I don't think it actually hurts you in the game. I don't think showing those emotions in moments like that hurts you at all. If anything, it might connect you with someone on a more personal level, which could help you. But so I don't mind seeing it. Doesn't really bother me, but I'm just, a little like,
We had the competition before in BB7. I remember Damien doing it. I don't specifically remember. Is that the one he won?
I don't remember it either.
I don't remember. You guys have such good memories. But literally, I watched like hundreds of thousands of hours of
Brutal.
TV.
Try auditioning in front of me. Brutal.
People are terrified of you, Jonathan. You know that. But no, I definitely like I felt for Tanisha, making that decision of wanting to win. I wasn't sure though, like if it was that part was good for her game with the fact that she sacrificed the letter and it was a really big moment and then she didn't win the competition, but she shows how much she wanted it. And so I wasn't sure if that was going to be good for her positioning in the game.
Agreed.
And so if she was going to be upset, she might as well have just dropped it and like not, because she wasn't going to win against those other two people from her positioning. And so, yeah, I just think it might have made her look like more of a threat that she's willing to give up these letters from her daughter for the win. And it just might have put a target on her back a little bit.
At the same time, it could show people that even when something that is that important to her. Oh, by the way, I just did this whole like Obama thing that Kyle was doing last week, and it drove me crazy. Just reminded me of it. But yeah, that even like in a time like that where she cares so much about it, she still can't win. It might make her seem less of a threat. But I agree with you. It does expose something, but there is another way of thinking about it too. That if I was like on her side, I would make sure other people saw it that way as well.
Yeah,
like
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I just don't know if she's playing with savvy enough people to be able to like not be like, well, she came in third in that competition.
Yeah. And she really wanted to win. Like, look how badly she wanted. Yeah, I don't think people are playing that hard either. So, but I mean, yeah.
This is something that's plagued my entire life and I don't see it, but people seem to want to tell me that my entire life. And it used to make me cry, but now I just hope that means I'll be equally as rich or that I'm hysterical.
You look like Whoopi Goldberg?
I've gotten that probably 1,000 times in my lifetime.
First of all, Whoopi's one of my faves. As far as actors, Sister Act, Star Trek, all those things, great, love, fave. Maybe because of that, I don't see it, but I do not see it. So I'm really surprised that you've had that.
Like literally since I was 9 years old. I remember when I was visiting a friend and she's like, her mom was like, oh my God, like you should put on black lipstick and you would look exactly like Whoopi Goldberg. I was like,
I don't see it. I don't see it at all.
I don't see it either. The people that I get,
don't see it.
The people that I get are Whoopi Goldberg. I used to get New York a lot when she was in her heyday. I used to get Brandy. People actually thought that I was Brandy and asked me for autographs before. I'm like, can't you say Monica? Like, I mean, Brandy's beautiful in her own way, but I don't think I look like her.
So they're all pretty. One other person. I could see like elements of New York, like elements, but I've never thought like, oh, Chantele looks like no. Who do I look like? You want to roast me, guys?
I don't know who you look like.
Roast me in the chat. It's fine.
Oh yeah, no, nobody's saying it was black. No, no black person has ever that I know of has said that I look like Whoopi Goldberg. So it's true that I've met in person. Thank you. I mean, I don't see it either, but she's funny. So hopefully you just mean that like I'm hysterical. So yes, finally, after almost 2 hours, Marty and Jess were the final two of this competition. Jess, she had the poor strategy of choosing the larger box. I think that kind of messed up her ability to keep control of the rest of the boxes. And so I think that's why Marty had a sturdier system.
Yeah, I didn't know if their choice of picking the larger box was that. I was wondering. I was like, is that a good thing? Is it not a good thing? It depends on how. Yes, it's a bigger surface area, but I thought that they said that they weren't picking it because of that. But I thought that if the boxes are hollow, Kevin Martin. First of all, that's not true. That's not I don't mind it though. I'll take it.
Thank you. That's not bad.
But yeah, so I'm like, if they're hollow or light, it could actually work very much against you. So it really, if it was like a solid block, I think it would actually be to your benefit. But it really depended.
I feel like it was flimsy cardboard boxes.
Yeah, so probably not the best. But I was curious as to, I was like, oh, I wonder what technically is the best solution.
I liked her thought process of having a larger surface, but I think that it was more difficult for her to keep control of whatever was on the other side of that box. So, and And like I think
Well,
that it just would have been
Jess is like
sturdier.
Jess
Mhm.
is doesn't seem like super tall or anything either. So it was more of like, and then once I saw it in their hands, I thought it was clearly harder to, you know, have like it was much bigger in their hands than it was kind of that you saw. So I was like, oh, maybe that wasn't a great decision. But I thought, oh, I'm like, maybe you can win it. Maybe you can win it. Okay.
So Marty runs over and hugs Jess, and Marty does a really, in my opinion, obnoxious to the camera in the diary room about this is one happy elf. I was just like, okay, I know, I get it. You're excited, you wanted to win, but the whole week he's just been talking about how strong he is and he's gonna pull himself off the block, and it was just like, we get it, Marty. Like, you're a really strong competitor. I'm Big Brother. We got it. So Jess is crying. They don't like Christmas. I do like Christmas.
Love
I just didn't
Christmas.
understand why March was when we're having a Christmas
I was like, that's why you didn't
Christmas
win
comp.
because you don't like Christmas. Okay.
Possible,
Mm.
possible, possible. So we see Kyle going to hug Marty, and I don't know if he did. Yeah, he did give him the hug. And then when he leaves the room, Marty's like, "That's my target. That's who I'm going after next week if I win head of household." I'm just like, and he's saying this to Kevin, I believe. And I'm like, I don't know. You guys shouldn't be giving Kevin all this information, but people just don't think that he is doing anything.
Well, I've noticed with Kevin, he doesn't really respond to a lot of it.
Mm.
He's just kind of like absorbs, and that's very much who I would be as well in the house, I think. So he's just sitting there. He's like, and people sometimes just want to say things out loud, so you don't have to give them anything back.
What, Natalie? Don't think
Natalie,
so.
Natalie needs a prescription because of both glasses and maybe medication. I don't see it, but
I don't
I
see
mean,
that.
Kyle's good looking. Sure, I'll take it.
All right, so Marty does decide to talk to Gino. They have a conversation in the storage room. They talk about you know, maybe pretending that they're not that great of friends, but they still want to like work together. And so Gino even suggests to Marty to trash talk him in the veto ceremony, which I think is good. I think this is a good idea to like still work together, but not necessarily allow people to see that you guys have rejoined forces. So that was like a
Yeah.
decent move, I'd say,
Well,
on Gino's
it's
part.
actually good for both of them because
Yeah.
I think that, Gino needs people on his side, and it's a good place for Marty as well. So just, why not? When you have every opportunity to make even more people enjoy you and stuff, like make friends, not enemies. That's the whole point of Big Brother. So yeah, I think it's a good opportunity to take advantage of that. And this is really, what we saw in the beginning come full circle, like with that emotional stuff in the beginning and whatnot. So
And then another full circle that happens is Summer and Gino have another conversation, and Summer's like, "Okay, so like, are you gonna go bigger than maybe what your original plan was for your renom?" And she starts letting him know that a lot of people would be considering him and Kyle as a duo, and that if they're trying to get Kyle out, they would be putting up Gino beside him, and really put the fear in Gino that like Kyle is a big liability for his game moving forward. And I don't really think that this is true. Like for his game, like, yes, he might be put up beside Kyle. Absolutely, that's a possibility. But I think it's better for him to have Kyle in the game than for him to not have Kyle in the game and maybe take out somebody that is actually coming for him.
of course, of course. So number one, first and foremost, you're now playing Summer's game. So congratulations for building Summer's resume. But second to that, if someone brings you a issue, say thank you. I appreciate it. Never go with their solution. They are a player in this game that is looking
Playing
out
for
for
themselves.
themselves.
Mhm.
You need to be playing for yourself. Come up with your own solution to that. And I think there would be potentially several. So figure out how keeping Kyle in this game would absolutely mean that they're going after him, because guess what? If Kyle's gone, maybe they're going after you. Solution to that would be, how do I get someone else on the block next to Kyle instead of myself? How do I separate that? Not get rid of, like, it was just so silly. I lost all faith in Gino in that moment. I'm like, that is you throwing your game away. And to me, you're
Yeah,
not a
like
player.
just because you have
Sorry.
a messy friend, you don't get rid of that friend. You just be like, you could try to distance yourself in the coming weeks from that person, absolutely. But he's never coming for you. He's always a target in front of you, and
Yes.
he's capable of winning stuff. So, regardless of people not enjoying his head of household reign, like he might win again. You never know. And he would keep you safe for sure. And everybody else may not keep you safe. So
Why are
I
you
think
doing other people's work? I don't understand
exactly.
it. It's like 101 where you see and you like viewers at home cringe like when they see this happen. It's like I mean, good on Summer.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And I appreciate about Summer that she's able to go up to people, kind of say what she wants, and I don't hear any fallback from that right now.
Hmm.
So I'm like, "Oh, you're doing something right with that for sure." But like way to go because you really kind of ran Gino's HOH, I feel like.
Yeah, well, I definitely had more influence than what we saw of Jacey-Lynne. So yeah, she definitely scared Gino into his nomination. Um, it's good for Summer's game, and it will build trust with Gino to a certain extent that they're like able to have these conversations. But I don't think that everybody is going to not touch Gino now because he took out the house target. Like I just don't think that that's what's going to
Oh, no,
happen.
not at all. If anything,
They'll
I'm like,
vote out Kyle for sure.
you're still paired with, Jacey-Lynne. So I mean, like, they're gonna see like, oh, there's a duo that we can absolutely put up. You know what I mean? Like, and they didn't vote with the rest of everyone else, and it's not really solving a problem at all. So you just let someone kind of bamboozle you, as far as I'm concerned.
I do like the when it says at the end, like whenever we talk, like make sure, and she's like, I already forgot about it. And I was like, that's good though. I like that, Summer, that to at least let the head of household know that you're not talking what you guys say in private. So
Mhm.
then Kyle goes and talks to Gino, and this is, I think, the nail in the coffin for Kyle because now because now Gino has been having these doubts now with Summer kind of encouraging him to maybe put up Kyle to solve the house's problem. Um, Kyle wants to guide Gino into his renomination, and he pitches to him Moose. And this irritates Gino because he had such a messy week last week, and he just wants to have something easy and normal. And Kyle even mentions that, like no matter what, like what's going to happen, like they're going to put me beside you, like we're going to be going up together. And like that's like what's the absolute wrong thing for him to say in this moment with Gino, because he already has doubts. He doesn't want to be seen as a person to go and sit up beside Kyle. So
Yeah.
Kyle
Kyle is
didn't know how much he shouldn't have said what he said.
Kyle is terrible all around. I mean, this is your opportunity. And then, especially when like, are we at the part where he tells him that he's putting him up?
So right next, Gino talks to Marty first and does tell Marty that he's going to be putting up Kyle. Marty thinks this is a great game move, and I'm like, Marty, I don't think is a good gamer, so that's probably why he thinks it's a good game move. And then Gino does tell Kyle, I may have to put you up on the block. I did feel bad for Kyle, like his like it
But
just seemed very
in
sad.
that moment, not all is lost. This is where you were like, you can convince him otherwise. He has not done it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I don't him just kind of like taking the pillow and sitting down and like, I'm going home. And he's like, it would be it's just like you need to present no, this is why you can't do it because and come up with something. And you should have already been thinking about all of this. And of course he's not because he's a terrible player. And and I wish there was a way of like casting these things. Well, we did come up with the idea that if they're all based on people who've played orgs before, then they would have some sort of sensibility to them in gamers. But I hate when I see terrible, terrible players, not people taking swings and missing, but just people incapable of playing any sort of strategic game. And Kyle is one of them. So like, see you later, Kyle. But you just took someone's spot that like potentially could be a really good player as well. So I just hate seeing terrible players. I hate it. I hate them seeing them as house
It's
guests.
it's it's frustrating because like he really was in an amazing position, and I feel like I need to clip when I was saying in week 2 when he was having a conversation with Jay, and like how there was something about the way that he was handling that conversation that was rubbing me the wrong way, and you were kind of like, no, I think that somebody's coming up to you with that kind of like aggression, or that kind of energy, like I could see why Kyle might react that way. And I was just like, Something's off about it though. Like, if only we knew. So I'm gonna go find that clip.
Yeah, I know he took a big turn. I mean, like I had no idea he was like this until his HOH, and then it was just slippery slope.
Slippery. And then the final part of this episode is the veto ceremony. Marty says to Gino what his daughter says to him all the time: it sucks to suck. And people were just like, like, are they asking them to overact in all these like group settings? Because like, it sucks to suck is not really that harsh. Or am I just desensitized?
I mean, it wasn't even worthy enough to talk about for me. I was like, that's stupid. People's reactions are stupid. I mean, it was just like whatever.
Was like whatever. But we ended up like talking a lot about this episode that we didn't really mind. I mean, I guess we more so talked about like the Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and my crushes growing up. But it was still really enjoyable. Thank you for being here, Jonathan. Is there anything else about this episode that we didn't mention? The facial expressions when Kyle got put up. Oh my God, that's true. It just, I did feel bad for Kyle because he's the youngest person in the house. So he's only 23. And so he really doesn't know how bad his head of household reign was.
Yeah.
And he will learn obviously tomorrow and the days to come.
I mean, I also have a heart, and I do feel like in those moments, especially when like Steph was leaving and just like his face kind of drops, like there's a couple seconds there, and then he like puts back on the kind of the show, he's like, oh, okay. But I do feel bad for Kyle in those moments because, it's just like you are so unaware though that you need these like tough lessons. And I'm sorry that it's in front of the world essentially. But that's what you signed up for at the same time. So I can't feel too bad about it, but it is, there's little micro moments there that are crushing. I mean, I feel bad as well. Yeah.
A little bit. Well, thanks for being here, Jonathan. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for all of your commentary, whether we agreed or disagreed. It's really nice to have these conversations together. So, do you have anything going on you want to share with the people? I know you don't, but just asking.
No, I'm good.
Nope. Well, please subscribe to Reality Realness. So we love building this community. It's really helpful if you subscribe, if you like this video, if you're watching it in the replay, and please leave a comment. We what should we ask the peoples? Who do you want to win the next head of household and why? I would love to hear what people are thinking. I know there's going to be a lot of Summer fans. So other than Summer, who would you like to see win the head of household, the next one? Who would you want?
Ooh, I would actually want to see Jess win.
Okay, get Jess some power. They've been up on the block a few times. Like, I would like to see what they do.
Maybe a little shake up with that. Who knows? Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, I am, for being here and everybody else in the chat. I would love to see a Jess head of household. So till tomorrow, I will be on Rob as a podcast tomorrow for the recap. So I will be doing most likely a recap on Friday with JoJo or with Jonathan if he wants to do it with me instead. So we'll see what happens, but I will be doing the recap with Rob as a podcast after the episode tomorrow. So catch me there. See you guys.
Bye.